So if you're a real estate investment trust, if you're a limited partnership, if you're a limited liability corporation, the limits don't apply. So guess what we have most of in Maryland? Not a whole lot of corporations, mostly other forms, legal forms of business entities. And that's a bill that I've had in now for about 10 years. And every year it passes out of the House, or it's passed out of the House many years. The last couple of years, the committees held it and said, let the Senate do their thing, and it gets killed over in the Senate. That would place limits. There is an instance in Baltimore County where a particular development company has formed 50 mirror companies of its own with the same 3 officers. And so they give to the limit 50 times to people. So that's another bill that I have in again this year, and we will hope that that will make it out this year, and I think it might because there's so much upset over this. Okay, I'm going to do a quick scan. Open government. I believe that we're going to move finally to do what we've had the electronic capability to do for some time now, and that is to have our committee votes available online, just like our votes on the floor are available online, because a lot happens in the committees, and a lot's decided. I mean, if a bill doesn't get out of committee, that's it. You know, if there's a bill I really want to vote on in the health committee and it doesn't get out of committee, I never get to vote on it because it never comes to the floor. So we are doing that. There were bills put in to do it, and the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate said they were going to do it administratively. So they've started it up already. This year. Pardon me?
Do you know what they're calling it? What the heading is going to be?
No, but something I didn't say in the beginning. I'm doing something this year that I haven't done before, and that is that I'm doing an e-newsletter. Are some of you getting it? Some of you getting it, and it has. So I'll make a note right here. And Ann, would you do the same thing? The next one that goes out, let's put on how to check committee votes online.
That's good. Yours is easy to read.
I don't think it's going to be quite as easy as it is to do a floor vote, because on the floor, you know, all our names are up on the board, and when I push that button, either red or green, instantly it's available on your computer. This is going to take a little bit longer. It's because we don't have that apparatus in our committee rooms, but it will be done at the end of the hearing, and we'll go out, and so I think that's a good idea. Okay, I think I'm going to stop for a while and I'll work in these other things as I'm answering questions, because otherwise I'll go on too long. Okay, what do you guys want to talk about? Yes. Yale. Hi.
Tell us about voting machines.
This is still not resolved. What about voting machines in November? What kind of voting machines are we going to be using? This is something. Oh, and did you just come in, Mike? Because and then there's the question. This is something that I actually took the lead on about 10 years ago in Annapolis, when we decided to sell our OptiScan machines, the ones where no, they're not touch screens. How do they work, Lloyd? With a card. Thank you. And we were going to the kind where you would, touch screen. And these meetings that I have here are open to absolutely everyone. There's no invitation. It's not based on parties. And I know that some Republicans come to this every year, and I welcome them. And I say this nevertheless. The owner of this company who makes these machines is the one who promised to deliver Ohio for George Bush. And he did. So, that have no idea if there's any connection, but he is the owner of this company. And I mean it. I mean, we really don't. But we do know that. We do know that that promise was made. So, when I started making some comments and going public on how I thought this was a mistake to do, a guy by the name of Avi Rubin from Hopkins, who is the leading computer scientist in this country on voting machines came forward and spent a lot of time pointing out how insecure these machines are. And this is a very hard concept to get around, and I am going to answer your question about what we're going to be using, and we don't know yet is the answer, but I'll tell you how close we are. He teaches graduate computer courses at Hopkins. And say he has 12 people in a class, and he would divide the class in half, 6-6. He'd give them one of these debold machines and say, okay, dismantle this, or not machine, my technology vocabulary needs a lot of help, but whatever it is, dismantle this thing. Or as someone said about Lucille Clifton today, when she couldn't remember the correct word for something, she'd call it a thingy. So dismantle this thingy and hide a huge bug in it. And then put it back together again. Then switch sides. You 6 people go over here, you 6 people go over here, and try to find the bug in the very same thing that you just dismantled and put back together. And in 8 years of teaching that, no class had ever succeeded in doing it. So what's the message in that? When people say that they're concerned about these machines, then the answer is, and this is from some people in high levels of government and very intelligent people, but just not that knowledgeable about computers, certainly I'm not, say, but there was no trouble in the last election. There was no trouble. Well, we would never know if there was trouble. That's the point. That is the point. So, we've been back and forth, and 3 months ago, 2 months ago, a month ago, I would have told you it was over. We were going to vote on those same machines. But now, somehow, life has been breathed back into it. Mike Burla might know more about it. He's been working on this just as a volunteer citizen who cares a lot about it. And the point that's being made now is that it will cost more to maintain these debold machines than it would to replace them with the touchscreen kind of things that we had years ago and got rid of. So it's still kind of... Optiscan, right. Okay, thank you.
The Optus screens can't be bugged?
I don't know what you mean.
They have a
paper trail.
Yes, that's the point. So if we use these debold machines, that's the only word I can remember, folks, so excuse me, that's the company, that's the brand name, this year, in what may be the most tumultuous election in many, many years, and probably more partisan, if we can imagine that, than in many, many years, we will be going into this election without the ability for an audit or a recount. Right. There is no ability to audit or recount. So we don't know yet. And it's probably going to go that we will use those machines that can't be audited or recounted, but there's a possibility that it won't.